NBA basketball totals for Saturday, March 18th. Of course, this is March Madness time where we look at a lot of NCAA basketball games, but this is our segment where we do NBA totals for Friday and Saturday. We've got the video out there. And we're going to go ahead and look at a couple games on the card today, a couple unders I like in today's matchups. Don't forget also I got an NCAA basketball segment out there as well, so you definitely want to check that one out. We're having a pretty good season on total so far in NCAA hoops. We'll be back with our NBA Live segment, which is a lot of fun that you got to check out. That's 5 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. That goes Sunday through Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern. That one's a blast, so you got to check that out. Also, we got SBRpicks.com, Sportsbook review, YouTube channel, Facebook page, things I just got to mention to you guys, especially for the new guys that, might happen to catch this video. Let's talk about a couple totals today in NBA hoops. I just got 2 games on the card. I have 1 game in NCAA basketball. You got to check that video out. And the first one we're going to look at here is Utah and Chicago. Of course, Chicago just played yesterday. Oddsmaker set a really low total for this one, which makes some sense. So it's 192.5, and I'm going under. I'm actually going under on both my plays today. So when we take a look at this game, first of all, Chicago's really struggled to put up points recently. Prior to the game against Washington, which is actually they're in the middle of playing right now as I'm making this video, but we look at their games, their last several games, 91 points versus Memphis. They did score 115 versus Charlotte, but that was after scoring 80 against Boston, 94 against Houston, 91 against Orlando, 95 against Detroit. Now they're facing the number one defense, arguably the number one defense. I think San Antonio is the best defense in the NBA. Golden State's right there, but as far as just playing at a really slow clip, and keeping teams to a low score, Utah's about the best there is. They're allowing opponents just 96.3 points per game. They're ranked first in the NBA. They also rank first in opponent 2-point shooting percentage, and they rank second in opponent overall shooting percentage. Great Utah defense. I thought they battled Cleveland really well the other day. Just couldn't quite get it done in the end, but they were on the second leg of a back-to-back. They're all about playing at a slow clip and just playing great defense. They're averaging 79 shots per game. That ranks last in the NBA, and they're allowing just 81.9 attempts per game. That ranks third. Chicago's tried to pick up the pace recently, but I think they're going to have trouble against a Utah team that can really just grind you out. And also, Chicago's defensive numbers are not that bad. They're 8th in opponent shooting efficiency. They're 11th in opponent three-point shooting percentage. That'll probably be a point of contention tonight. But at the end of the day, Utah's decently efficient. I just don't see them getting that 192.5. They met up just a while back, early in the season, back in mid-November. Really low total, 85-77. I don't think it's going to be that low, but I do think it's going to stay under the 192.5. So I'm going to go in back under this total. I just don't see them getting up and down. The last couple years here with these two teams, when they happen to meet up, we got Eastern Western Conference, of course. There's just not a lot of high totals, and I don't think that's going to change in this one. There's nothing really that jumps out at me that says the over is going to hit for sure. If anything, this is going to be a grind. So I like for under the total with Utah and Chicago, under that 192.5. And the next one we have up is a little bit tougher for people to swallow, but I like Golden State, Milwaukee, under the 217. So also these guys met up a while back and played to a real fast pace, high scoring affair, but I don't think that's going to be the case in this matchup. Golden State seems to be at a point where they're just going to start focusing on their defense and do what they do best, and that's, get stops, get out in transition, as we saw the other night versus Orlando, where I thought they looked fantastic. Now, this 217 is a little bit surprising to me. So, sorry, look, I wanted to bring up the game I happen to not to have up here. Let's just talk about some basic numbers right now, but there is something I do want to talk about specifically when it comes to these two teams and the last time they met up, which was a while back, actually. That was also mid-November, like that Chicago-Utah game, 124-121 final. So we had a really fast-paced game, like I just mentioned, but you're talking about two teams right now with Golden State and Milwaukee, both efficient scoring teams, no doubt about it. You got Golden State, their efficiency ratings are off the charts. I mean, they rank first in effective field goal percentage and shooting efficiency. And then you got Milwaukee, they rank 7th and 5th, respectively, in those same two categories. However, that being said, they also play some defense. And I'm talking about Golden State, but Milwaukee as well. They're a little bit different than last year's, where they're a little bit more efficient. But this is the team that can really play some defense. And I think they got some tough matchups for Golden State as far as just making things a little bit difficult. So when we look at that game they played, back in November. I mean, they scored how many points they scored 70 points in the second quarter. The shooting percentages weren't that great. They weren't off the charts as far as Milwaukee's concerned, but Golden State, they shot 50% from distance. I don't think they're going to be able to do that again tonight. The pace was absolutely phenomenal with Golden State getting up 95 attempts, but also that was with Kevin Durant. Of course, he's out tonight. Still, ultimately, I contribute this a little bit to the numbers where that game was 217 and a half, and they went for 240, 245. But yet odds makers came out with a 217 and a half. That gets my radar up just a bit. But again, what I wanted to talk about is the defenses in this matchup. Where right now you got Golden State. They are such an underrated defense. They rank first in the league in opponent shooting percentage at just 43.7%. They are awesome on the defensive end. And then you look at Milwaukee, they do not have bad numbers. And one of the most important numbers to me is they only allow 37.9 field goals per game. That ranks 8th in the NBA. And they also rank 7th, almost said Seth Curry. They rank 7th in opponent field goals attempted per game at just 82.9. Of course, Golden State wants to get up and down, but right now I think they're at a point where they're going to focus a lot more on their defense, especially tonight. So that ultimately for me, this is a little bit of a numbers play where although they played to a really high scoring affair before, odds makers didn't blink on the number. I know Durant's out, but I don't think that's going to matter very much as far as this being a lower scoring affair than they have set at that number. So I'm going to go ahead and back under this total here in what should be a little bit slower pace, and I think we're going to see something closer to 210 than 217. So I'm going to back under that total with Milwaukee and Golden State. That is it. So let's go ahead and let's recap that. We got Utah, Chicago under the 192.5, Milwaukee, Golden State under the 217.5. Be sure to check out where the lines move with Sportsbook Review, and I wish you luck on your picks today.
We hope you enjoyed the video. Hey, don't miss out on the best basketball betting content available on YouTube. Click our logo button on the bottom left to subscribe. And as always, guys, give us a like and drop your comments below because we want to hear from you. Visit our website to take advantage of all our free products.